Unit 8, Relationships. Lesson 1, Family Relationship. The famous Greek philosopher Aristotle said, "Humans are by nature social animals." What he meant was that human beings, by instinct, seek company of others and establish relationships, much like most animals of the wild, for companionship and for physical and emotional support. Unlike animals, however, human relationships give meaning to their existence and inspire them to do well in education, in workplace, or in a profession. Relationships are of different kinds. Some are familial and intimate, formed by blood and by marriage. Some are social, like the ones we have with friends, and some are made in schools where we form close bond with classmates and teachers. Relationships can also be fostered in workplaces, which may quickly change from professional to social. There are relationships also between human beings and animals, between children and their toys that they cannot part with. All these relationships keep us close to each other and provide us all kinds of support, love, and affection. A person who has no family feels the pain of loneliness and isolation. There is no one to laugh or cry with him or her. When we share our joy with someone, it simply redoubles, and when we suffer a loss, and someone shares our sorrow, it lessens. Relationships are thus needed for our emotional health. To build relationships, we need to have trust and respect for each other and love. Where this is needed, we cannot be selfish and possessive if we want to establish an effective relationship. But quite often we see people quarreling and fighting with each other, which only brings misery and loss to all. Lesson 2, Warmth in Relationships. Those winter Sundays. Robert Hayden. Sundays too, my father got up early and put his clothes on in the blue-black cold, then with cracked hands that ached. From labor in the weekday, weather made. Banked fires blaze. No one ever thanked him. I'd wake and hear the cold splintering, breaking. When the rooms were warm, he'd call, and slowly I would rise and dress, fearing the chronic angers of that house, speaking indifferently to him, who had driven out the cold and polished my good shoes as well. What did I know? What did I know of love's austere and lonely offices? About the poet, Robert Hayden was born into a poor family in Detroit in USA in 1913 and had a difficult childhood beset by eyesight problems. He was raised in part by foster parents and missed a father's caring love. But in the sonnet, which is about a childhood memory, he writes about a father, probably his own, who is harsh and often angry, but does love his son in his own way. Hayden, a Black American, wrote about Black experiences and history. He died in 1980.
Lesson 3. A Mother in Mannville. About the author. Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings was born on August 8, 1896, in Washington, D.C. A writer from an early age, she won a prize of $2 for a short story published in the Washington Post in 1907. She attended the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where she received her Bachelor of Arts degree in English. She married Charles Rawlings, also a writer. The couple moved to New York City, where they worked as journalists for various newspapers. In 1933, the couple divorced. In 1941, she married Norton Baskin, a hotel owner from St. Augustine, Florida, and lived with him until her death in 1953. Rawlings was considered a writer of local or regional literature which focuses on a particular geographical setting of rural, southern USA. Although her stories are based on the seemingly simple lives of rural people, her themes are universal. Rawlings continued to write until her death from a cerebral hemorrhage on December 14, 1953. A Mother in Mannville. The orphanage is high in the Carolina mountains. I was there in the autumn. I wanted quiet, isolation, to do some troublesome writing. I wanted mountain air to blow out the malaria from too long a time in the subtropics. I was homesick too, for the flaming of maples in October, and for corn shocks and pumpkins and black walnut trees. I found them all living in a cabin that belonged to the orphanage, half a mile beyond the orphanage farm. When I took the cabin, I asked for a boy or man to come and chop wood for the fireplace. I looked up from my typewriter one late afternoon, a little startled. A boy stood at the door and my pointer dog, my companion, was at his side and had not barked to warn me. The boy was probably 12 years old, but undersized. He wore overalls and a torn shirt, and was barefooted. He said, "I can chop some wood today." You. But you're small. Size don't matter, chopping wood, he said. Some of the big boys don't chop good. I've been chopping wood at the orphanage a long time. Very well. There's the axe. Go ahead and see what you can do. I went back to work, closing the door. He began to chop. The blows were rhythmic and steady, and shortly I had forgotten him. The sound no more of an interruption than a consistent rain. I suppose an hour and a half passed, and I heard the boy's steps on the cabin stoop. The boy said, "I have to go to supper now," he said. "I can come again tomorrow." I said, "I'll pay you now for what you've done," thinking I should probably have to insist on an older boy. We went together back of the cabin. An astonishing amount of solid wood had been cut. "But you've done as much as a man," I said. "This is a splendid pile." I looked at him, actually, for the first time. His hair was the color of the corn shocks, and his eyes, very direct, were like the mountain sky when rain is pending, gray, with a shadowing of that miraculous blue. I gave him a quarter. "You may come tomorrow afternoon," I said, "and thank you very much." He looked at me, and at the coin, and seemed to want to speak, but could not, and turned away. At daylight I was half wakened by the sound of chopping. Again it was so even in texture that I went back to sleep. When I left my bed in the cool morning, the boy had come and gone, and a stack of kindling was neat against the cabin wall. He came after school in the afternoon, and worked until time to return to the orphanage. His name was Jerry. He had been at the orphanage since he was 4. I could picture him at 4, with the same grave gray-blue eyes and the same independence. No, the word that comes to me is integrity. It is bedded on courage, but it is more than brave. It is honest, but it is more than honesty. The axe handle broke one day. Jerry said the wood shop at the orphanage would repair it. I brought money to pay for the job, and he refused it. "I'll pay for it," he said. I broke it. I brought the axe down careless. "But no one hits accurately every time," I told him. "The fault was in the wood of the handle. I'll see the man from whom I bought it." It was only then that he would take the money. He became intimate, of course, with my pointer, Pat. When I went across the state for a weekend, I left the dog in Jerry's charge. My return was belated, and fog filled the mountain passes so treacherously that it was Monday noon before I reached the cabin. Jerry came early in the afternoon, anxious. The superintendent said nobody would drive in the fog, he said. I came last night and you hadn't come. So I brought Pat some of my breakfast this morning. I wouldn't have let anything happen to him. I gave him $1 in payment, and he looked at it and went away. But that night he came in the darkness and knocked at the door. "Come in, Jerry," I said, "if you're allowed to be away this late." I told maybe a story, he said. I told them I thought you would want to see me. That's true, I assured him. I want to hear about how you managed with the dog. We watched the flames. That's an apple log, he said. It burns the prettiest of any wood. We were very close. He was suddenly impelled to speak. You look a little bit like my mother, he said. Especially in the dark, by the fire. But you were only 4, Jerry, when you came here. You have remembered how she looked, all these years. My mother lives in Mannville, he said. Have you seen her, Jerry, lately? I asked. I see her every summer. She sends for me. She wanted to give me a puppy, but they can't let any one boy keep a puppy. You remember the suit I had on last Sunday? She sent me that for Christmas. The Christmas before that. He drew a long breath, savoring the memory. She sent me a pair of skates. I let the other boys use them, but they're careful of them. I'm going to take the $1 you gave me for taking care of Pat, he said, and buy her a pair of gloves. She likes white gloves, he said. Do you think I can get them for $1? I think so, I said. He came every day and cut my wood and did small helpful favors and stayed to talk. I said to him, "You have been my friend, Jerry. I shall often think of you and miss you. Pat will miss you too. I am leaving tomorrow." Later, at the orphanage, I said, "And will you call Jerry for me to say goodbye to him?" "I don't know where he is," she said. "I'm afraid he's not well." I said, "I wanted to talk with you about his mother. Here's some money to buy things for him at Christmas and on his birthday." She blinked. "There's not much use for skates here," she said. "What I mean," I said, "is that I don't want to duplicate the things his mother sends him." She stared at me. "I don't understand," she said. "He has no mother. He has no skates."
Lesson 4. Love. Butterflies are regarded as powerful symbols in many cultures and contexts. They are often associated with change and growth due to their fascinating transformation from caterpillar to cocoon and finally into a graceful butterfly. In Greek mythology, Psyche, meaning soul, is often depicted with butterfly wings. Butterflies are thus connected to the soul and the quest for love and beauty. In some cultures, particularly in Asia, butterflies appear in art as symbols of love, romance, beauty, and freedom. They are also seen as symbols of the transient and fleeting nature of life. What comes to your mind when you think of butterflies? Read the title of the short story given below. What do you think the story will be about? Butterfly Forever. Chen Qiyou. It is raining. The asphalt road looks cold and wet. It glitters with reflections of green, yellow, and red lights. We are taking shelter under the balcony. The green mailbox stands alone across the street. Inside the big pocket of my white windbreaker is a letter from my mother in the south. Ingzi says she can mail the letter for me with the umbrella. I nod quietly in hand. Per the letter, who told us to bring only one small umbrella. She smiles, opens up the umbrella, and is ready to walk across the road to mail the letter for me. A few tiny raindrops from an umbrella rib fall onto my glasses. With the piercing sound of a vehicle screeching to a halt, Ingzi's life flies in the air gently, and then slowly falls back on the cold and wet road like a butterfly at night. Although it is spring, it feels like deep autumn. All she did was cross the road to mail a letter for me. A very simple act, yet I will never forget it as long as I live. I open my eyes and remain standing under the balcony, blankly, my eyes filled with hot tears. All the cars in the entire world have stopped. People rush to the middle of the road. Nobody knows the one that lies on the road. There is mine, my butterfly. At this moment, she is only 5 meters away from me, yet it is so far away. Bigger. Raindrops fall onto my glasses, splashing into my life. Why? Why do we bring only one umbrella? Then I see Ingzi again, in her white windbreaker, the umbrella above her head, crossing the road quietly. She is mailing the letter for me. The letter I wrote to my mother in the south. I stand blankly under the balcony and see, once again, Ingzi walking toward the middle of the road. The rain wasn't that big, yet it was the biggest rain in my entire life. Below is the content of the letter. Did Ingzi know? Ma, I'm going to marry Ingzi next month. Translated by Shauna. How do I love thee? Elizabeth Barrett Browning.
How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depth and breadth and height my soul can reach when feeling out of sight. For the ends of being and ideal grace, I love thee to the level of everyday's most quiet need, by sun and candlelight. I love thee freely, as men strive for right. I love thee purely, as they turn from praise. I love thee with the passion put to use in my old griefs, and with my childhood's faith. I love thee with a love I seem to lose with my lost saints. I love thee with the breath, smiles, tears of all my life. And if God choose, I shall but love thee better after death.